Let's get into the elite men. Mathieu van der Poel absolutely showed his class at Tabor.
I don't have enough words. If you look at it just from a surface, it just looks like he just sort of rode his way through the field and got there and then figured out how to win. But a huge emotional week for his family. His grandfather, Raymond Poel, passed away. On top of that, he started in the third row having no World Cup points, and just showing the class of rider he is, calmly working his way through the field, using actually a lot of running. He was very strategic. When the traffic was there, he would jump off his bike early and just shoulder up while riders were running into each other. Just very calm. But then he gets to the front group, and then he gets gapped again. And that's if you watch a lot of cyclocross, that's when you're like, oh, that's a top rider that made that big effort to get there, and then they come off, and he was almost 15, 17 seconds adrift. You're like, it's not his day-to-day. I'm thinking, the race is coming out.
Van der Beert is going away.
He calmly he doesn't stop. He just calmly keeps the pressure on, rides his way back up to leaders. And then you have Michael Van Toornout, who's playing absolute superstar teammate for Eli Iserbyt this year. And they started to mess with him like they did at European Championships. Little gaps in the corners, just messing with him for the wheel. And Van der Poel had to physically move riders off the second wheel that he wanted to be on second wheel behind Iserbyt at times. Throw into the mix that you have Lars van der Haar having a great ride, and he's going for it. He's attacking. He's not jumping the barriers just to get ahead. He's riding his race. He's won on that course before. And Van der Poel clearly under pressure physically in a tough week. And he figures out the one spot on the course that he's going faster than Eli Iserbyt on the last lap. He moves to the front, and he attacks up that, and he wins. He doesn't even put his hands up across the line, just drained emotionally at the line.
Yeah, you can only imagine what he was going through this week. Very close with his grandfather, Raymond Poel, a big fan of both him and his brother, always there alongside the course. I mean, Poel retired decades ago, but still at all the events. It was actually, his wife said, a bit of the fatigue from attending the Tour de France this past year, where kind of his downhill slide started and sadly ended up passing away last week. Van der Poel, to have that ride on a week like that was really special. He had just a beautiful quote where, he was bunny hopping the barriers, and every time he went over the barriers, he was thinking that he was, getting a little bit closer to heaven, a little bit closer to his grandfather who had just passed away. Kind of gives me chills to think about. And then the next day, Flandrian Cross, we saw just a classically dominant Van der Poel victory.
Yeah, it's a race he's won. He's had battles. He had a great battle there with Wout van Aert a few years ago. He won last year famously. It was a race where his teammate Tom Mewsen got away with him. There was a little mishap, I believe, on the first or second lap, and they got away. They got clear. They got a gap, and Tom Mewsen had to suffer through 40 minutes of the most excruciating Van der Poel pacing behind his teammate, and finally Van der Poel distanced him and won. It's a technical course. It's twisty. It's fast. It suits a good bike handler. But Mathieu on Sunday was surgical. He was perfect. I think I saw him dab once where his wheels slid. Didn't slow him down. He just went to work, and he didn't have a big gap until at 2 laps to go. Laurens Sweeck was only 4 seconds behind him. He did what he had to do, but he just kept the pressure on like he does. He doesn't make mistakes, and he grew that gap. Just another perfect ride from the world champion.